So, hello and welcome to another video. Today I have something very special on the camera, something that is actually too big for the for the camera to catch as a whole, because it's still in its packaging. Well, it is in its packaging again because I put it back in because I think, well, I could also make a little unboxing in here. So what I've got here is a GALAX GeForce GTX 1070. I ordered this off eBay a few days back and it finally arrived now. I already did the testing, the overclocking on it, and now I'm going to take it apart for the teardown to look at what the how the cooler actually works, because I couldn't really look into there, and also what kind of PCB we have, what VRM is on there. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. So first, for the unboxing part, it's pretty straightforward. Just oops, bumped the camera there. So, and there I bumped the mic. So you just take this part, and then we have this black box here, which I'm gonna have to move the mic a bit so I have enough space to open it. Oh, that's how it's supposed to be. So here we have some foam, and under there is the important part. Well, also we also have a user manual, and there it is, the graphics card, still in an anti-static bag. So that was a bit loud. So yeah, here we have the graphics card, and also in here we have some fire starters. Don't use these. If you have to use these, you don't have to use this graphics card. So now here we have the graphics card. Funny thing about that, actually, the thing I ordered was not from GALAX, but from KFA2, and the thing is, GALAX and KFA2 is basically the same, because GALAX is called KFA2 in Europe, where I live, obviously, but I obviously have GALAX stickers on here, so that tells me that this graphics card comes from outside of the EU or Europe as a whole. And I also think that there was something written in Turkish in the manual, so that's maybe where this card comes from. So for an overview of the card, we have a two-fan design. I can't really tell how many heat pipes are in there. We're gonna see that in the teardown. The card needs an 8 and a 6-pin for additional power. The reference design only needs an 8-pin, if I remember correctly, so we can shove a lot more power through this thing than the reference PCB. This also is a lot bigger than the reference PCB because it has this whole area. And I think it's also a bit longer, but I don't really know. Yeah, we have the pretty much standard ports on here, 3 display ports, 1 HDMI, 1 DVI, and yeah, that's basically it from the overview. I'm not gonna take this card apart, and this is also going to be a first time for me because, well, as I already said, I got this into my hands just today. I just finished testing, overclocking it, and so now I'm going to take it apart. I don't know what's under there, and this is also the first time I'm taking a card apart that has a backplate. So, to get my screwdriver out. Oops, sorry, bumped the mic again. So I think we can go with, let's test these. Do they fit? Yeah, they fit. So since I don't really know how this is put together, I have to assume now, but I think that of course these 4 screws around the GPU have to be taken out, and I think those 2, because these likely hold in the VRM heatsink, but I think that's a detachable heatsink, so it's a smaller one that's not attached to the main heatsink. So I'm just gonna take out these 4 now, and then look if I also have to take out these 2, because the screws that hold in the backplate, where you can take them out from here obviously, so they seem to be screwed in from the other side. So oh, these are really tied on. So from the temps I have seen, we could also assume that the thermal paste on here already has been replaced when this card was sent to me, or that it is just quite new. Can't really tell. I also don't know how hot 1070s usually get, but from my experience I would say that this card is pretty cool. So is this enough to lift the heatsink off? It's really tight on. Feel like I'm missing something, but I don't see any point where this is screwed in. So yeah, so the VRM heatsink doesn't move when I'm wiggling around here, so this is not... Oh, that comes off. Ooh, there we have it. 2 cables, because this GeForce GTX logo actually is RGB. So we have 2 wires now. Oh, that's... So, gonna take that cable out. Oh, that's really tight. And from how that thermal paste looks like, I don't think it is new. So this cooler might actually be a lot better than I thought. Oh well, this cable is not coming off. Maybe try the fan cable first and then this second. I'm sorry if you can't see really much at the moment. So fan cable first. Yep, that comes off. Oh, it comes off with the shroud again, like with the 650. Oh. So now you have your first view of the PCB. So yeah, I have this thing came off with the shroud again, so I'll have to stick it on here again. So now for the other cable. Oh, this one comes off with the shroud too. That's bad luck. Oh no, oh, the shroud stayed on. Well, so that's the cooler. And now I can tell you that this is either 4 or 2 heat pipes. So one goes this way and another one this way. Well, this might also be going through there all the way. So well, holding it in the camera. So the heat pipe layout might be this, and then there's a second one that goes like this, but it also may be one big heat pipe. And yeah, so the smaller one might be the same as this one here, and this one might be the same as this. So I can't really tell, but yeah. So the thermal paste on here actually looks pretty old. The thermal pads for the VRAM look okay. And actually this cooler is kind of light. So the cooler of the 790 Ti is a lot heavier. So yeah, but it looks like it's in pretty good condition, because I don't really see a lot of dust. So yeah, that's it for the cooler. Now we're gonna look at the PCB. So now you can see that this PCB is, well, it's obviously custom PCB because it is wider here. And yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 VRAM modules. They are Micron, which I don't know if you can see it if the camera decides to focus. Yeah, you can see that little M there, they are Micron. Yeah, and also from the chokes, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 phase. These two are probably VMEM, and then the core has a 5-phase VRM. And now we're gonna take that heatsink off to look if that's probably doubled. So yeah, gotta take the VRM heatsink off. So I don't know if this screwdriver will fit. Yeah, it does. Okay, because these screws look a lot smaller. The question is, if we put Kryonaut on there now on this GPU, is it going to run even cooler? Oh, that heatsink doesn't want to come off. That's probably one big thermal pad. Oh yeah. Ooh yeah. Now where I see this, I think this GPU is at least a year old, because that wouldn't get under there with a new GPU. So this has worked a bit in someone's PC. And so, if I see this correctly, these are 3 MOSFETs per choke. The same with the VMEM. So yeah, that looks like a nice VRAM setup, which may also be the reason why this card is such a nice overclocker. So I'm as I already said, I already finished testing this card, overclocking it, and there's also a separate overclocking video coming up, like with the 650. So stay tuned for that, because this card is kind of interesting actually. So yeah, now I think we gotta take the backplate off. I really wanna see how the PCB looks on the other side, but I'm gonna take smaller screwdriver. So these two screws are probably the I/O shield screws, so these can stay in there. Wow, that one's tight. Ah, now I got it. So these are a lot of screws for backplate, but there are also thermal pads under there, so this backplate also gets really hot. So it helps with the temps, which is good. and that's why I can see why there are so many mounting points for this backplate. So it is kept on tight, doesn't come off where the thermal pads are. Oh, come on. So now for the last 6 screws, if I see it correctly. So now that backplate should come off. If the thermal pads aren't holding it on. Oh yeah, I can. Oh, did I miss one? Or is it actually the thermal pad? Yeah, looks like it's a VRM thermal pad. Oh yeah. Oh, that looks interesting. Nice and black. So that's the backplate. It's actually made of metal, so that's a nice thing. So a plastic backplate would conduct a lot less heat than this metal one. So that's nice to have. I gotta put it away. So now we can see the PCB from the back too. Pretty clean looking actually. Not really a lot on there. So yeah. Now let's get on to the GPU cleaning part, because that thermal paste looks a bit old. Also just a bit disgusting. So yeah, I think I'll need my cleaning petrol this time, because this GPU is bigger than usual and also covered in, yeah, so this doesn't help at all. Oh, it helps a bit. Let's see what comes off. Oh, no, actually quite a bit comes off. So sorry for the noises in the background. This is my desk is a mess. So I'm gonna get some of that. Don't know if you can see it. Ah, that's enough. So, and we already see what GPU we have on here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's a lot farther away than the other videos now, because I actually upgraded to a proper stand for the smartphone now, and I'm also recording with a different smartphone now. I'm not using my my old Nexus 5, but my current daily driver, my Nokia 6.1, which has a much better camera, I think. This is the first video I make with it. So yeah, So I hope the video quality is a lot better. But I'm gonna see this. I have to evaluate that when I'm editing this video. So there's still a thin layer of thermal paste on there. So let's do it another time. Let's do it a second time. Okay, I'm gonna use another piece of this right here and hope that I get off the last bit now. Oh, that's not looking good. Come on. So now I can see it. There's still a bit around the edge, but don't really care about that. So now you can see this GPU die if the camera decides to focus. No, it did. So this no longer square die of the GP104 200A1 GPU. So GP104, this is the same GPU that's also used in the 780 Ti and 1080, obviously, just that this one is missing a few CUDA cores. So yeah, this is a lower tier of GP104, but still same GPU. Sadly, this one is missing the metal accessory, I would say, that's sometimes on the GPUs that make them look a lot better. So here we just have a plain green bluish package material, but yeah, well, except for me and the viewers of this video, no one's going to see this, so why bother? So now where the GPU is cleaned, I'm going to get the backplate back on, then the VRM heatsink, and then we are going to replace, well, not really replace, put new thermal paste on. So is this the right orientation? It is not. This one is. So, aligned itself, so now we gotta put all the screws back in. I'm getting the feeling that this is going to be the longest episode. Well, because I included the unboxing, and this is a big card, and this one has a backplate, and the thermal paste on this one is kinda a mess. So yeah, let's see if we hit the 30-minute mark, and I see on the camera we are 24 minutes already. So this is already the longest episode, if I remember correctly. So yeah. Whoever's still watching, thank you for that. But to be honest, I think this is also the most exciting GPU I'm taking apart here, because it is the fastest one I've taken apart yet. Even though my 780 Ti might be close, but that one's dead anyway, so can't really measure that. Because, well, normally 780 Ti's don't get that far ahead of a 1060, or don't even get ahead of a 1060 at all, but, well, I already said it in the 780 Ti video. My 780 Ti was really a lot faster than normal. And in some performance tests I made, I was actually closer to this graphics card, to a 1070, than a 1060, so it would have been nice to benchmark them against each other, but sadly the memory on the 780 Ti decided to put itself out of the game. And well, the only way to make this card function again is to reball all the memory chips, because I don't know which one's dead, or if all of them are. It doesn't even want to install the drivers anymore, so yeah, this card is pretty much useless now. But maybe I'll find someone who helps me reball all these memory chips, and we may be back up and running someday. So now backplate is back on. Thermal pad makes nice contact. So now we put the VRM heatsink back on. Check for orientation. This was the right one. It's a bit off. So that's how it's supposed to be. Gotta change my bit again. And no. Well, this is a really dumb thing I'm doing right here, but I just wanted to say it seems to work. I'm not wearing the Linus Drop Tips t-shirt, so this should be fine. So one screw in, now I can use both of my hands again. And so now they are tightened down, and now we can get to the interesting part, the part where we put on the thermal paste. And this time I'm not going to use the cheap Cooler Master V1 from the compound that I always use on GPUs. No, I'm going to use this Thermal Grizzly Kryonaut, because this GPU is, well, it has a lot of work ahead of it, because well, he doesn't know it yet where I'm recording this, but this GPU, well, it was bought by me, but it's not going to be used by me, it's going into my friend's PC, who doesn't know that this card is in my possession yet. So yeah, Kryonaut is always a big mess, but yeah, I'd end up washing my hands anyway after this video, so I might just also get them dirty. So come on, see that, there it comes. Well, this spreads really bad. Yeah, I just talked about that this is always a big mess. Why I'm always trying to use the spreader, it never works. But I guess I'm just too dumb to use it. and it's not the spreader that's not working, it's totally me. So yeah, the good thing is this is a GPU, so we can kind of make a mess. This is non-conductive, so you can put it to places it doesn't really belong to. So now I'm gonna try to spread it out a bit, because that one hardened part, I don't want that to ruin the whole application. So I'm gonna get this one out of here. So there we have our blob, the big mess. I'm gonna spread it out a bit, but the cooler is going to do the rest. Oh, that's a lot of thermal paste. This is probably going to cover the whole package. So yeah, this is a lot of thermal compound. This is also the first time that I'm using this on GPUs. Also, I've only used this on my 8700K. So yeah, I know how it looks. It looks like well, kill it before it lays eggs, but yeah, I've got thermal paste all over my fingers, so not really having a good time right now. It's also like 4 in the morning. It's there's already light outside, and I'm not asleep yet. So, well, this is kind of a late night, tired kind of video. Well, all these teardowns videos are basically, because they are all unscripted and always done at night when everybody else is asleep and I don't bother anyone with my weird talking. So now we gotta put that fan cable back in. That one's in. And the RGB cable. So now I'm going to do this one right here. Oh, we didn't clean this part of the whole assembly. That was kind of a fail on me. So yeah. That happens when you do things unscripted. Well, let's take the cables back off and clean the heatsink properly. And this time it's coming off with the shroud. Oh, damn it. I also know you're not supposed to pull on the cables. It's supposed to pull on the plastic thing, but my fingers are way too big for that. So Now that's a nice copper base plate. So, now back where we were. Oh, I don't really like this approach where the one cable is on the on side and the other cable is on the other side, but well, I just managed to do it anyway, so now I'll have to position the card like this a bit, so the I/O shield hangs over the table, and I'm going to pull back the camera a bit so I can see me putting in the screws. And now I'll have to align this whole thing. There I see the screw holes, and the GPU is making contact. So let's put the screws back in. Remember to do it in the cross pattern and don't tighten them down all the way. Just put all of them in and then tighten them on, because we don't want to put too much stress on the GPU, otherwise it might crack. And yes, I have seen that. I have seen a Vega Frontiers edition that has suffered this, and it was not looking good. So now, under the pressure of these screws, all of the thermal paste is probably spread out over the package of the GPU. Maybe this will improve temps because it is Kryonaut. So this is a nice high quality thermal paste, but it really depends on what kind of stock thermal paste was on there. So like Gigabyte puts pretty nice stock thermal paste on their cards, so that just performs like 1 degree worse than something like Kryonaut, so it isn't really worth it. So yeah, put the card back together, looked at the VRAM, looked at the PCB, looked at the backplate. So yeah, we are at 37 minutes, so I just gotta say, this was my teardown of the GALAX GTX 1070. That's going to my friend's PC, but he doesn't know it yet. So, until next time, then I would say, bye.